Good afternoon and welcome. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I'd especially like to welcome those persons who will be presenting and having conversations with us today. Of course, the members of our media and everyone that's tuning in. I am really pleased to be hosting the launch of the Makers STEAM Club program here at the Robeson American Center at the U.S. Embassy of Jamaica. So, we're going to jump right into it because we know you guys are waiting for this program to unfold and you're really excited about all that we'll be sharing about the STEAM program today. And our first speaker that we actually have up is Dr. Kassan Troop. And she is the Chief Executive Officer acting of the Ministry of Education, Youth, and Information. Now, Dr. Troop is a highly skilled educator with expertise in transformational leadership, educational policy implementation, result based management, training, and behavior change consultancy, motivational presentations, excellent program planning, and youth advocate. She's the acting CEO, as I said, in the Ministry of Education, Youth, and Information, with key responsibility for the successful operation of all public educational institutions in Jamaica. I'm really looking forward to hear Dr. Kassan Troop's welcome message and also for you guys to make sure that you're paying attention because this STEAM program and this center that's been established is one that is going to make a significant impact on our education here in Jamaica. Dr. Troop, over to you.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction. Ms. Stacy Hines, President, Jamaica Technology and Digital Alliance, and our Master of Ceremonies. Mr. John McIntyre, Charge d'Affaires, the U.S. Embassy. Dr. Jodian Jones, Coordinator, American Center, the U.S. Embassy. Ms. Godiva Golding, Founder and CEO of STEAMHouse Network. Our teachers, our students, all specially invited guests. Good afternoon. The Ministry of Education and Youth welcomes today's launch of the Makers STEAM Club in Jamaica. We have long recognized the importance of STEAM education in our country with a focus on science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math to the wealth and growth of our economy. And of course, we have made it our imperative to focus on an increase in the enrollment of our students at the tertiary level for the STEAM focused disciplines. Clearly, to meet any part of or all of the aims and objectives of STEAM education, there must be educated and trainable people who can adapt to the changing environment and its requirements. The education system is therefore indispensable in developing a STEAM learning culture. Educational institutions are required to lay the groundwork for the effective integration of STEAM as we move to provide opportunities for the professional development of our citizens and to increase productivity here in Jamaica. You are probably aware the Ministry of Education and Youth has been pushing for greater embrace of the concept of lifelong learning. With specific reference to STEAM, there are some challenges to include an inadequate number of teachers for science and mathematics, and even more so for ICT personnel, notwithstanding an increase in the number of graduates in the latter field. Many institutions here in Jamaica lack ICT experts who can support and manage the internet connectivity and our application of computing in teaching and learning. We are working assiduously to address this gap here in Jamaica through the training and development activities of our teachers and the provision of scholarships in STEAM focused areas and the staffing of our schools. Our ministry last year launched a Coding in Schools program in all our primary and secondary education system in collaboration with Amber Technologies Group. And this is being embraced with great enthusiasm. And we want to see this sustained as we prepare our students to take their place in the global community. At this time, we must address, ladies and gentlemen, the uneven access to technology and poor physical infrastructure in parts of our country. And thus we are addressing through our National Internet Broadband Initiative, which we have launched recently to ensure that there's adequate internet bandwidth across our schools. We're also providing tablets and laptops for our teachers and our students across the system. The ministry has provided over 130,000 devices to students. And at the end of March this year, we'll be providing 9,000 laptops to our teachers to help them in the delivery of their teaching and learning experience. Most important, we must address basic literacy skills. Efforts at pushing STEAM learning will continue to be undermined if the secondary level students are struggling with reading comprehension. To address this, we have introduced a specialist subject teacher model at the primary level, where we are seeking to strengthen the teaching and learning of all subject areas with special emphasis on English language and mathematics. Further, under the National Standards Curriculum for the grades 1 to 9 students, emphasis is being placed on inquiry based instruction, project based learning, problem solving learning, and STEAM is integrated at all levels. And while at the secondary level, STEAM education is also given focus through discrete subject areas. In fact, if we are to increase STEAM enrollment at the tertiary level, we have to be deliberate in cultivating STEAM talents and interests at an early stage. The Ministry of Education is committed to ensuring that none of our students is left behind as we seek to bridge the education divide that exists in our society and prepare our people to be flexible, adaptable, and ready for the new world. It is within this context that the presence of Makers STEAM Club will enhance our efforts to increase awareness and to get more students involved in the building out of our STEAM economy and ecosystem here in Jamaica. We will certainly play our part in sharing information so that our students can make full use of the opportunities being afforded through this club, as I'm assured that they will be engaged in machine learning, robotics, and 3D design and modeling. The ministry looks forward with great enthusiasm to the revolutionary gains in this regard. Congratulations to the team and welcome in this regard. I thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Troop. I echo that. Congratulations. And I also wanted to just point out when you talked about lifelong learning and the priority that we need to be placing on STEAM, not just for children who are interested in becoming engineers or software developers or interested in tech, core tech, but for all children so that they can have a greater understanding about technology and even in the space of art and math, understand how applying these technological skills, they can still make the best of their own areas of interest. And so STEAM is for everyone, and it is a part of lifelong learning because technology is a part of all of our lives now. I would like to now move on in the program to our next speaker, Mr. John McIntyre, who's Chargé d'Affaires here at the U.S. Embassy in Kingston. Over to you, John.
Good afternoon, distinguished colleagues, partners, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, all protocols observed. Now, some of you may be familiar with me, but if you're not, that's totally fine. I am John McIntyre. I am the Chargé d'Affaires here at the U.S. Embassy in Kingston, Jamaica. I want to thank you all so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedules and participating in the Robeson American Center's launch of the Makers STEAM Club. In collaboration with STEAMHouse, the Makers Club is a learning-focused community where students can participate in free virtual workshops on emerging technologies, including machine learning, robotics, and the always exciting 3D design. The Makers Club primarily focuses on teaching and reinforcing these technical skills to students between the ages of 8 and 22 years old. Jamaica's talented young people are ideally positioned to take advantage of the opportunities in these areas. The Jamaican ingenuity has contributed to this country's growing tech ecosystem. And in the spirit of ingenuity, we have decided to create a student-focused, and I think that's really important, science, technology, engineering, art, and math club, the Makers. Our countries have exchanged cultural and education ideas through a number of U.S. Department of State programs, and many of these you will be familiar with, such as the Fulbright Graduate Student Program, the Hubert H. Humphrey Fellowship Program, the Young Leaders of the Americas Initiative, Youth Ambassadors, and Education USA. All of the aforementioned programs have historically built tremendous talent pipelines. Today marks the beginning of the forging of a new area of educational exchange, building 21st century digital literacy skills together. To echo the words of Secretary of State Antony Blinken, the United States is committed to setting technical standards and creating norms for emerging technologies that are transparent, consensus-based, private sector-led, and most of all, ethical. Once again, I would like to thank you all for taking the time to share this momentous occasion with us this afternoon. On behalf of the U.S. Embassy, and to be frank, as a parent, it is so impressive seeing all that you have done today and will do. I would like to also express how happy I am to support this initiative that will empower our students and educators in the exciting and rapidly changing world of STEAM. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sharjay McIntyre, for that. And I also wanted to just underscore our conversation about this being a student-focused initiative. It's really great when you can actually enable our young persons, starting at age 8, to feel confident about their interactions with technology. And this is exactly what a makerspace is all about. And speaking of confidence, we actually have a video presentation coming up that showcases the Jamalca Code Fest, which is an initiative that was hosted late last year to help students through an artificial intelligence hackathon with their levels of confidence in the use of technology. And this video highlights the experiences of the students and mentors, as well as a demonstration of the projects created from that experience. Now, why is this important? Why you want to pay attention to the video? Because if you are going to be interacting here at the Makerspace, these are some of the things that you can get to look forward to for your children. So over to the video presentation now that is being queued up.
But I've loved coding since that first time, I think I was around 12, where I changed the background color of a bare bones HTML website. Coding is a journey, and this is just the first leg. Then, on one lonely August night, I saw that my ITGS teacher had sent a message to our class's WhatsApp group asking if we'd like to join a hackathon. Now, at the time, I didn't even know what that was, and all of us were saying, are we even qualified for that? But soon enough, the thought of the experience we would gain, as well as the super cool prizes, had us quick to sign up. But that's not to say that our fears suddenly disappeared. In fact, they increased when we saw all the people who entered.
My name is Ayush Chan.
My name is Kenton Hardy. My name is Darian Johnson. And together we are
Origin Coders.
Hi, my name's Karthik.
I'm Sarah.
And hi, I'm Amanda, and we're a part of Team Techtators. And all the super cool ideas that they already had.
Basically, there's a problem. Period education.
Known as a song classifier. It will be used to help parents find out which songs on the internet are child-friendly or not child-friendly.
We have made a code to allow people who smoke to know their chances of being infertile.
We are investigating the correlation between rising carbon dioxide levels and rising sea levels to assist with research on climate change. For an example, here's a prediction of 2030's sea and CO2 levels.
Now, the idea that my group had, don't ask us how we thought of it. It's a rather weird and long story, but in essence, our idea was to create a chatbot that persons who experience periods could ask period and sex-related questions. In essence, a period and sex education chatbot. Okay, so we have the idea, we have the group, We have a hodgepodge of coding skills. But what next? Excellent question. And to answer that, we had no clue. So this is where the team facilitators came in.
Welcome. Software and the Education USA advisor at the Robeson American Center at the U.S. Embassy Kingston.
They were always ready to help. They guided us in the right direction. And they also gave us that shove every once in a while because they knew we had it in us before we even knew. With their help, my team was up and running and working on our project with newfound confidence and motivation. Now, I won't go too deep into the nitty-gritty or else you'll find yourself hearing about countless hours of debugging the same batch of code and sending desperate messages to team facilitators when Stack Overflow led me astray. Now, shout out to those facilitators who always responded, even at one time at 1 a.m. Oops. Yes, going off topic and also change of lighting. But long story short, we worked on our code day in, day out. We debugged, we laughed, we cried, we applied the generous amount of feedback that we received, and we just kept going. And in the end, it was totally worth it. Not just in terms of us winning prizes, but also us developing a system that we could be truly proud of. For the girls, the women, for everyone who experiences periods. Our project was for them, not for ourselves. And I cannot stress enough how grateful not only me, but my entire team was grateful for STEAMHouse for providing us with this opportunity to do big things. Here's a quick glimpse of the finished product.
Excellent video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Could you see yourselves as either parents or teachers or maybe your children participating in something like that in the near future? Well, you're definitely going to get your chance. And I'm also sure that you probably have a few questions bubbling up about the program, right? Right? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to take your word for it. So we're going to move into a panel discussion that is going to take care of most of the questions that you have, I hope. And this discussion is going to be with Jodianne Jones, PhD, Dr. Jodianne Jones, who is the American Center Coordinator here at the U.S. Embassy in Kingston, as well as Godiva Golding, who is the founder and CEO of STEAMHouse Network. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you, Stacy.
Excellent. And our conversation today is going to be around the topic of makers going full steam ahead. You like that? I like it. Okay. So we're all going full steam ahead here, guys. And I want to just jump in as, kind of the moderator to talk about, what and why a makers club. Who wants to start? Who wants to kick it off? Godiva?
I think I'll kick it off.
Yeah.
But in order to do that, I'm going to take a step back. Now, one of the things that we've been realizing with the change in curriculum over the past 3 or so years is that there has definitely been a need for these skills to be taught. And when you look around, oftentimes, libraries seem like a bit of a stagnated place. We have 111 libraries right across Jamaica, and they're severely underutilized because of the changing nature of how we interact with learning. But let's say we are building lifelong learning communities. Where can we go to actively make and create, because the point of learning is skill development, and yes, you'll acquire a job, but to create is one of the most human things about us. And so a space like this basically takes into account how are we creating and making in the 21st century.
Oh, that's excellent. I didn't realize we had that many libraries
They are
across the island. 111. That's really amazing.
It is.
And to be able to actually see that we can transform. This is all about that digital transformation. Here we go again. We can actually transform a library space into a maker space so that we can engage with learning differently.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we ensure that we transformed within our space is the addition of digital components. So prior to the transformation of this space, we were known as the Information Resource Center, and we hosted school tours, schools interested in pursuing research in U.S. foreign policy or U.S. history. And, you know, we actually have a library, guys. We actually have a physical library here. But as the technology advanced and as time changed, we realized that students needed, in addition to books, they also needed computers, they needed tablets, and of course, they needed cool gear such as 3D printers. So we spent a lot of time, a lot of effort into transforming our space to reflect the skills necessary to advance into the 21st century. And that's the Makers Club is the latest addition to that.
No, I can tell you guys that that's the one thing that I have fallen in love with in my brief time here. It's the cool tech. Okay. So there is literally, guys, a studio. If you're a YouTube creator or a wannabe YouTube creator, there's a studio with mic and lights and backdrop and
Video.
all this excitement. Now, what comes up for me immediately is, you know, well, who will be using this? You know, who would you say is a maker?
So a maker is, just as the name implies, it's someone who makes. Here in the space, we'll be focusing on robotics, 3D design, as well as machine learning. Dr. Jones actually will be running a machine learning program, and it also came out of the experience with the hackathon. So the Jamaica Code Fest was an artificial intelligence hackathon. There's so much data that is just being generated with all the technology that we now use. Facebook collects a lot of data on us, Google, you name it. And it begs the question, like, how will we actually use all of this? So a maker is someone who will be able to take the resources around them and create something new. It doesn't necessarily have to be original because it will take some time. But what we're hoping to come out of this maker space is that persons will be using the 3D printer. They're going to be experimenting with shapes, designs, to be able to cultivate this feeling of, I have created something, and it builds into self-efficacy. How do you feel when you make something? If you've ever made something with your hands or made something with code, it allows you to have the sense of empowerment that is really unmatched by any other bit of the learning experience. So a maker is simply someone who makes, and we are creating this space for every maker. And we do believe that by being human, you're a maker.
We're all makers, right?
We're all makers.
That's good. That's good. Now, talked about machine learning, and I know for many persons who are not as exposed to technology, you know, sometimes they hear the lingo and it might feel a little bit difficult. So we've been talking about STEAM a lot, and we may have heard it, the acronym actually spoken out in our last two presentations. But Dr. Jones, would you mind just saying what is STEAM and why we should learn this?
Okay, so I thought you were going to ask about machine learning, so I was so prepped to answer that. So STEAM is, as Godiva rightly said, science, technology, engineering, art, and math, right? And one of the things I love about the acronym is that it includes art. Because a lot of people, when they think this, before it was a STEM, so people just thought of engineers, right? And what a lot of people don't realize is that all these fields are interconnected, right? Because if you think of, take a mobile engineer, before you start to code, you need to draw a wireframe, you need to have an idea of layouts and typography. So arts and engineering and science and math, everything goes together, right? So STEAM kind of just synthesizes all of these seemingly disparate fields and bring them into one overarching umbrella. So that's the main reason why we're starting the STEAM Club, the STEAM Makers Club. So the students, because another thing that we saw in the hackathon, some students, they may not be interested in coding, but they may be interested in bringing the project together, right? So we had students on teams who were more project managers and more persons who are, like the big picture thinkers, a big idea, and you need those people as well, right? So it's so again, it's kind of just synergizing all these fields together and showing the interconnectivity among all of them.
Which I think is so critical, because I'm a techie. Most people think that, my kids looked at me the other day and said, everybody keeps talking about you being a techie. Can you fix my computer? And I said, well, it's not just about that, right? But a lot of persons still believe that technology really is more focused on the infrastructure and being able to fix the computer itself, or any other kind of code developed, right? Now, I did want to go back to what you were talking about, Godiva, in terms of every human is a maker, and speak more to which humans would you like to see coming through the Robeson American Center's Makerspace?
So for the Makerspace, we thought it prudent to start as early as we can. So age 8 is where we are starting. So between age 8 and 24, you can actually come and be a part of the programs that we have here in the Makerspace. Again, they are in robotics, machine learning, as well as 3D design and modeling. And with that, we've also tiered there. So there's a beginner's track, an intermediate track, an advanced track. And if it just so happens that we have persons outside of that age group who are more advanced, we welcome the opportunity for you to actually participate and volunteer with the center to be able to spread the love. There's a lot that I'm sure if you are a STEAM professional that you would have learned, and we want to make sure we encourage that sort of knowledge transfer. Nothing really puts you in the space of, thinking about a career in STEAM, like talking to someone who has done it, interacting with that person, learning from them. So we welcome those interactions as well.
Okay, that's great to know, because I would like to come. And I alter the age range.
You're welcome here, Stacey.
And I'm sure there may be others who possibly are curious, because I think one of the things when you talk about economic advancement in the space of STEAM, I think there are a lot of adults who are still finding their way, and participating even as volunteers, I think would be a great opportunity for them to also access some learning.
Absolutely. So the main thing we want to foster in here is creativity, right? So regardless of your age group, regardless of your field of study or your career path, we want to welcome everyone here to just come in and just play, because that's where innovation starts. I always tell my students, don't be afraid of messing things up, because it's impossible to really mess anything up, right? So we just want to foster creativity and just getting your hands on whatever it is, on data, on the 3D modeling. Just get your hands dirty and just start playing and seeing what you can discover from there.
That's great. And it actually leads me to the question around the guides who will be supporting individuals. So we talked about you, Dr. Jones, leading the machine learning. You did mention a couple other areas. Is it mentors, volunteers? How are you engaging with persons professionally to come and participate?
So I'm very excited to say, so it's a mashup of volunteers as well as professionals in the field. As I mentioned earlier, the idea of mentorship, not from an aloof standpoint, but an integrated learning in terms of being able to show you a pathway. So we have undergraduate and postgraduate students who will be leading these sessions. We would have seen earlier when we had our hackathon, and Amanda mentioned it in her video that, the occasional 1 a.m. text message going out. No, we won't necessarily have text messages, but what we will be doing is fostering that same online community via Discord. So by joining, you'll be coming a part of the Makers STEAM Club, but you also have 24-hour access to persons through Discord who are sharing in a similar vein. And again, bringing that all together, we're here to learn from each other. No one has the monopoly on knowledge.
Exactly.
And so it is, again, the community feel is being brought about by students here in Jamaica as well as overseas, Jamaicans studying overseas, who really want to see an opportunity to give back and spread what they're learning at more advanced levels.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, how does someone join the club?
So if we're lucky, I think the ticker is on the screen. All right, just got to go ahead. So it's really simple. We are hosting sessions for educators as well as learners. I think that's really important to mention, because part of making sure we have a culture of STEAM is making sure that our educators have the best resources. And we do have NSC aligned resources that will be available. We have sessions for teachers on a Tuesday and for learners on a Thursday. So these are live sessions. But outside of that, how do you sign up? You simply go to robesonamericans.org/makers. And the link is also in the comments. So you can go through and click through that link and find yourself signing up right now to the Makers STEAM Club. We welcome educators, especially. We want to build this culture of STEAM learning. We want to make sure that educators are supported, because if we are unable to provide you with the best resources, how will you transfer that to the classroom? And that's what I love about this partnership with the Ropes American Center. They've been very committed in just ensuring that we have best-in-class resources, that we can have a truly technological society. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Godiva. And we want to make sure that you're seeing that link, guys. So whether you're watching live or you're catching up with us after, the link to actually join the club should be scrolling across the screen now and will possibly be made available in the show notes or the description, depending on where you're catching up with us. Now, I do want to kind of go back to when we talked about the different educational sessions or the awareness sessions. You talked about educators and you talked about learners. Would parents be considered learners? Like, where do the parents fit in?
So parents fit in by means of facilitation. Oftentimes, I'll be honest, parents don't necessarily want to learn what their child is learning, but they at least want to know, have an idea and an appreciation, so you can have the conversation at home. So yes, there is a space for parents where once your child would have interacted with this space and they are just bouncing off the walls with ideas, we are making our best effort to ensure that we speak to parents as well. So you can have the conversation with your child at home when you're seeing this thing that they're so excited about, and just basically continue to foster that learning, continue to foster interaction that makes it easier to go over, and building a culture. That's really what we're doing here. And the culture has to be permeated all throughout.
Excellent. No, absolutely. And so then if I am a parent of, say, 8 to 10-year-old or even 12, I would be clicking on this link to facilitate, more than anything else, them joining the different workshops.
That's right.
And then, of course, we can just sit back and watch these geniuses bring home whatever they've printed. You know, you can print a house now, you know, right? Or a sofa, right? Guys, you want the kids to come to the maker space, okay? Identify this new lovely chair that you want to get printed up. Okay. All right, guys. So we talked about how to join. We know that that link was provided. How much does it cost to participate in the club? Is there a fee?
Oh, I take that one. That's easy. It's free. It's free of cost.
Really?
Yep. Yep, absolutely.
Well then, okay, this just got extra exciting. I think my daughter wants to learn how to become a YouTube creator just so that she and I can visit.
Well, there you go.
The studio. So talk to me about that. It's free.
Yes, it's 100% free, right? In fact, all our programs here in the Ropes American Center, free, right? So that's one of the things that we've tried our best to do. We don't want to have parents or educators incur any additional cost. So all the equipment in here is free to use. The workshops will be free. So yeah, I mean, of course, there will be, you know, if you want to start, you know, as you say, you want to become a YouTuber, eventually you want your own studio at home, but before you spend all that money buying your Sony A7 III, but feel free to come in here and try it out and learn and experiment. You know, make all the mistakes here before you go out and purchase. Yeah, exactly.
No, I love that. It's literally like a library. You know, you go and you get your library card. So is there a Makers Club card that you get, or you just register? Like, I'm not sure how that
Well,
would work.
right now we don't have cards, but it's really easy to get access. It's just a matter of sending me a quick email and say, hey, I'd like to come in on this day. Is a space available?
Right.
And I believe we can we drop the comment, the email address in the comments? Not sure, but but just in case for our viewers out there, my email is jajones@educationusa.org. So if you have a Thursday afternoon or a Wednesday afternoon, whatever day you have free, you want to come in, check out the space, feel free to shoot me an email.
I think it's really amazing that we're able to offer access to this type of facility, these types of devices for free. Because in many cases, persons, that's the block, right? They can't afford to get access to machines. You know, we were hearing Dr. Troop earlier talking about getting laptops for educators. And if you are waiting on a laptop, you can come to the makerspace in the interim, as an example. So I think you guys really want to make use of the value that is available to you here at the makerspace. And we just wanted to highlight some of the benefits that we feel that this space will create. First and foremost, I really heard a lot about community. And I think we really need to foster that kind of community engagement and enablement in the STEAM space. Did either of you want to talk a little bit more about that community aspect of things? Godiva, maybe?
All right, sure. I'll chime in. So there's nothing quite like learning in a group. I often say to my team, learning is social. Yes.
That's good.
And there's something that we've embodied at STEAMHouse where we do paired approach. So in the same way in programming, you have pair programming. Yes, we do peer programming throughout all our programs. So in a sense here, what we're going to be doing with this online community that we're curating is to embody that same sort of culture that is about giving of your expertise, but also the sense of gratitude and willingness to participate. We want everyone to feel welcome here because we don't get to learn, we don't get to advance if we don't decide to help each other on that journey. So that's what the community is about. Right now, for everybody who signs up, you're automatically going to be getting a welcome email that's going to be pointing you to our Discord server. So Discord, I know quite a few of our students are gamers. They're playing like Roblox and Minecraft and Fortnite, and everybody has a Discord server now. So the Makers STEAM Club also has a Discord server, so feel free to jump in. We're cultivating that community, and we want to make sure that, you're a part of it. We want everyone to know how exciting learning can be, and this is just one of those ways.
Excellent. And just to underscore the learning, increased digital literacy, which is a significant gap that we're experiencing here in Jamaica, is one of the things that's going to be addressed or can be addressed by this maker space. So with the community, you can make friends who are in tech or not, persons who are just interested or curious and want to feel more confident in their use of technology tools. And the hackathon was a great way to actually establish that community kind of connection. So go ahead.
Many of us, like from the hackathon, the community has already been seeded with students like those. And I don't know if you could tell by the video, but they're very, very open to learning. And just, again, being able to create that space where it was okay to make mistakes. It was okay to ask a lot of questions. It's okay to just have no idea what you're doing and figure it out. That's what we are continuing here with the space. So it's really just a building block, and the foundation has been laid. So we welcome persons to join the community.
Excellent. Thank you. Now, as we get ready to close out our panel discussion, is there anything else that either of you would like to add so that our viewers have all the insight that they need so they can run and go and sign up right now?
Sign up. That's all, guys. Sign up. I'm excited. I can't wait to teach you machine learning. That's all from me.
Excellent. Now, guys, just a little bit of a reminder about the club. The club experience features online learning community. We've talked a lot about that because community learning is so key to who we are being in the space of STEAM, everything technology. Mentorship for club members to help and advance that feeling of confidence, that ability to ask questions, make the mistakes because it's okay. STEAM experts as guest instructors. We like to incorporate persons who are in the space so they have an example. They have, our avatar, so to speak, that they can look towards. NSC aligned resources for educators. Our educators are such a critical anchor for this space. We want to make sure that we are enabling our educators so that they can enable our children who are coming up with them. Weekly virtual workshops for educators and the students, and self-paced courses on robotics, machine learning, and digital design. So guys, I want to thank you so much for joining us and also for signing up. You should have received your welcome email by now. And if you're not receiving that, we'll make sure that you get the email in the notes again. Could you repeat that email for us, please, Dr.
Yes,
Jones?
it's jajones@educationusa.org.
Thank you. The first info session is being held next week, Friday, February 25th at 12 noon. So make sure that you're signing up so that you guys can be on tap to receive the email that will give you instructions on how to get to that session. Once again, everyone, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us and for starting the sign up process, for being a part of this conversation, putting your questions forward so that we could address them. I'd also like to thank all the presenters that we had with us today, Dr. Troop, who's the CEO acting of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, as well as Charge John McIntyre here at the U.S. Embassy of Kingston. And of course, I'd like to thank our guests who have educated us about the center, founder and CEO of STEAMHouse, Godiva Golding, as well as Dr. Jody Ann Jones, who is responsible for the Robeson American Center here and for the program that is about to be launched.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you. You did a fantastic job.
Thank you so much.
Really looking forward to